The old money trend is not going anywhere. In 2025, we're going to continue to be bombarded by things like tweed, gold button accents, scarves, and feminine silhouettes. But there is a trick to mastering the old money look without looking cheap or like an imposter. My name is Kimmi Jayne, and in today's video, I'm going to show you what not to wear to avoid looking like an imposter if you're trying to adopt the old money aesthetic, and what to wear instead to exude class, sophistication, and elegance. First, we're going to start with over-the-top accessories. Now, perhaps the images I'm going to pop on the screen might come to mind when you initially think old money, and perhaps you might think of things like pearls and gloves and hats, and you would be right to an extent. But old money definitely isn't things like oversized pearls, lace gloves, wearing berets, wearing loud logos, and wearing them all at the same time. These kinds of looks aren't actually old money, and they actually look a little bit more like you're about to go to a dress-up party. In the old money aesthetic, accessories are typically understated and exude quality, craftsmanship, and timeless elegance. Over-the-top accessories, especially ones that are overly flashy or covered in excessive logos, tend to veer into new money or even tacky territory, which is the opposite of the old money vibe. The old money look focuses on quiet luxury, and here are some key principles to keep in mind. When choosing your accessories, if you're trying to adopt the old money look, focus on quality over quantity. Accessories that exude elegance and sophistication are things like simple and dainty gold necklace or gold bracelet, perhaps a watch or a simple pair of studs, perhaps in a gold or a silver. Try to avoid overly loud jewelry pieces, especially things like the Chanel or the Dior massive logo earrings. It is really the opposite of the old money look if that is what you are trying to achieve. The next point I want to touch on is loud logos. Now, I might have mentioned it a little bit just now, but if you want to really truly achieve the old money look, then you really need to steer clear of those really loud logo designer items. We want to avoid looking like we are trying to look rich, because with people who are actually wealthy have absolutely nothing to prove. Plus, they don't want to make themselves a target. And attract the wrong attention. So if you want to look old money, ditch the really loud LV bags and instead opt for luxury bags that have very minimalistic logos and hard to spot design elements. Instead, choose bags that have beautiful craftsmanship, are made in deep, lovely neutral tones, and are in designs that can last years and years. Some of my favorite quiet luxury handbag brands at the moment are Pauline, de Melier, and of course the Australian brand Oroton. Also, for all of the items that I shared today, I will pop a link down below in the description box if you want to go and have a look for yourself. At the end of the day, the old money aesthetic is all about looking effortlessly polished and refined, which is kind of the opposite to loud luxury. So I guess by default, having, really large monogrammed LV bags and that sort of thing doesn't really sit in the old money category. That's not to say you can't wear them, but if you are trying to achieve the old money look, maybe leave those ones on the shelf and opt for some more new, sort of high-end bags that are, quite luxury, like de Melier, Oroton, and Pauline, or Pauline. Not sure how you pronounce it, sorry. And this also keeps you safe, because I've heard that people who carry bags like Birkins or very obviously monogrammed LV bags, sometimes they have them stolen or people will grab them in the street. So there's actually a lot of benefits to opting for the quiet luxury look, because not everyone will know, unless you have a loud logo on your bag, that it is a luxury bag, which means that you won't be a target and there's hopefully less of a chance that someone would try and take that from you. So that's another reason why I love the old money aesthetic. So the next point I want to talk about are short dresses. Now, you might think that short dresses cannot be a part of an old money look, but they can, depending on a few key factors. So it's really important to remember that old money is really built on looks that are refined and also modest, but that doesn't mean that you can't incorporate a few short dresses into your wardrobe while trying to achieve this particular aesthetic, but there are some key principles to stick by. So the first thing to make sure you're doing is, when you are picking a dress with a shorter hemline, is opt for something in a material like tweed. Tweed really makes people think of brands like Chanel and that sort of old money vibe. Tweed is very thick, which means you're not actually going to be able to see things like a pant line that you might see typically with a dress in a thinner, cheaper material. So a short dress in a material like tweed can still look quite expensive, but you also need to avoid looking like a caricature. So I've seen these dresses in like baby pink with like black stripes, and while they look super duper cute, they don't look old money, because old money is more about neutrals. So if you do want to get a short dress, aim for a thick, high quality material like tweed, but try to avoid the really Instagrammy, over the top, bright colored short dresses, because then it does look like you're trying to put on the look. It doesn't look very authentic. Another way to make a short dress look old money is with your choice of shoes. So if I was going to wear a shorter dress, I would avoid wearing like stilettos. Instead, I would opt for a ballet flat or one of those sort of Kimmi Jayne mule style shoes, which really look Chanel, they really look old money, and they sort of tone down the sexiness of the short dress because they are a more sort of elegant and refined style of footwear. So this is another way that you can tone down a short dress and try and stick with that old money vibe. The next point I want to touch on is athleisure wear, especially when it's not being worn at the gym or a Pilates studio. I think that there's a misconception that wearing gym gear with some chunky sneakers and a cozy jumper over the shoulder immediately makes it old money and refined, but I tend to disagree. Athleisure wear that is very revealing and tight, and I'm just going to put pictures up to showcase what I'm talking about right now, and also in really bright neon colors, is pretty much the opposite of an old money aesthetic. Now, if you go to a gym or Pilates studio and there's a farmer's market nearby, or there's like a coffee shop that you want to go to straight after your class with your friends, and you still want to look really elegant, refined, and sophisticated, there is a little trick to this. Old money athleisure wear is a lot more modest than, I guess, what we see on Instagram. So if you want to look old money, then opt for really high quality, thick materials that do not show your pant line underneath. Opt for also more modest cuts and styles, and stick to neutral tones like blacks, navies, and really dark browns. It can also be made to look kind of classy and preppy by adding things like a cap, a jumper, or like a sort of like a jacket over your shoulders, and also a handbag with maybe some accessories that you might pop on after you've done your gym workout or your Pilates class. Another way you can kind of elevate your athleisure wear after you've exited the gym or the Pilates studio is by adding something a bit more structured, like a blazer, which looks really wonderful, and also a structured tote bag. This look I can actually get on board with. I think it looks really lovely, but again, this is something that I wouldn't wear like day to day. It's something I would reserve for just after leaving a studio or a gym, when I wanted to get a coffee with my girlfriends, or, you know, go to like a farmer's market or something like that. I definitely wouldn't be going out for lunch or brunch or dinner looking like that. The next point I want to touch on is the importance of avoiding really poor quality materials and thin clothing. There is nothing that will make you look cheaper, honestly, than having really thin clothes that obviously show like your bra line or your pant line. I think I've mentioned this multiple times. It is my pet peeve, and it's something I'm really conscious of when I go out shopping, because even in more expensive stores, sometimes the clothes are just made out of the thinnest, cheapest material, and it just drives me up the wall. So if you want to look old money, really take the time and make sure you check the quality of the material of the clothes that you're about to buy. Like things like 100% cotton, that's going to be a nice thick material. Or something like this little tweed jacket that I have. It's a really nice structured thick material, which gives that sort of old money vibe and looks expensive. Now, you don't actually have to spend a crazy amount of money to have nice structured clothing, or have clothing that's, you know, made out of a high quality material. You don't have to buy things like cashmere. You can buy things that are cotton and linen and that sort of thing. But you do need to be careful of how thick or thin the material is, because thin material is less structured, it doesn't look as polished, and it doesn't look as refined, unfortunately. So obviously if you're shopping in person, you can like look, feel, and touch the material yourself, and you can see how it's going to look on your body. but when you're online, it's a little bit more difficult. So something to look out for is when you go to the description on any clothing item, it should tell you the makeup of the material, whether it's like, 70% cotton and 30% polyester, or vice versa. So there you have it. Those are 5 things to avoid if you want to look old money. Are you a fan of the old money aesthetic? If you are, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And if you're enjoying my videos, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. And feel free to follow me along on Instagram at Kimmi Jayne Official. And I hope to see you next time.